Guys, actually I should put it to you. You did G.I. Joe Resolute, and I love that.
Oh, wow.
I actually love that
Oh,
series.
cool. Sweet.
How did that come about? Because for what was produced in that whole thing, how did that whole thing come about?
Man, you threw me for a left.
Yes.
For a right, a left, an uppercut. I'm on the ropes right now. Hasbro was sort of pitching out the idea of doing this micro series, something that you didn't have to commit, a huge big span of your time watching, but something that could be cool, that could play a little edgier, could play to a little bit more the audience that grew up with G.I. Joe in the 80s, but was always hoping to see something a little bit more action-packed. Mm-hmm. That was kind of me in a nutshell, along with all these things like Voltron. It just went from there. It was breakneck. Lauren worked on it. Lauren did some boards on it, and it was just sort of a love letter to that era, sort of seen through the filter of a slightly more mature lens.
Yeah, it kind of felt like the IDW comic a bit.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the direction we were thinking. But yeah, there is a version of the Snake Eyes Storm Shadow battle that has full blood and gore all over the place.
Yeah, that fight was pretty much universally all of us that were like.
But Hasbro looked at it and was like, "There's a lot of blood in this thing. You guys gotta edit out the blood, man."
All of us were watching it, and I was sitting there like, this fight should be more bloodier, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah,
it's already good as is.
Yeah.
So
the blood exists somewhere. It's on the internet somewhere, I'm sure.
I think there was a promo where I think it was Duke and I think Roadblock. I think they were in a shootout or whatever, and then Snake Eyes saves them, and I was like, wasn't there blood in that one? And then now is there blood in this one? I was like, oh.
You know what? There wasn't actually blood in that one, but you hear Snake Eyes stick the sword in and turn it. It's what you heard that made you think about the blood. There was no actual blood spraying or anything.
So I was telling Tim that it felt like going with this Voltron, y'all took a lot of stuff from Go Line and took a little bit from there. Was that like the whole purpose going into it?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to go back and kind of refresh ourselves on the show. And one thing that I hadn't done was go back and watch Go Line. Mm-hmm. So that was like the thing that I watched. I watched it like straight through, preparing for the show, and there was just a lot of stuff in there that I felt like was really kind of ripe for the picking. Good things to kind of bring into our version of Voltron, stuff that actually kind of lined up with the original version of Voltron, where you could put them both in.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like our concept of Allura's from Altea, but they landed on Eris, and that's where they've been sitting for the past 10,000 years. So it's like, it's a little bit of both. But it's, we're not denying what was in the Voltron, but we're kind of bringing in a little bit of what was in Go Line.
Yeah, and I think, just in terms of tone, we've said this like a million times at this point, but Voltron was sort of the product of these two shows edited together, and they made the most of what they had at the time, But if you watch Go Line, it's just a way more cohesive story.
Oh yeah,
It's just a single story. There's stuff that's still to this day not really appropriate for us to air on like a kid show for sure, but as far as like a thematic story that you can get behind and characters that kind of evolve through the course of the series, it's a way stronger viewing.
Was there stuff like, I guess, that you wanted to do in this new Voltron that it just didn't really line up with what, I guess, the Bible of the story, so to speak?
I mean,
I will say one thing, that I don't think is spoiler at all. We had a kind of different pitch for where it started that was a little darker, and it was like Earth had already been invaded by the Galra and all this stuff. But I think what we learned, we'd come right off of Korra, which was just a much more adult, kind of darker show, and we'd said in all our pitches we want to make Voltron a little lighter, and then we went back in and we're like dark.
We went right to post-apocalyptic craziness.
So you went straight to episode 1 Go Line where they come back Earth.
That was it. It was basically Earth was in that situation, and these guys were starting in that situation.
So we ended up kind of. I think DreamWorks was like, can we start it a little lighter? And I think it was actually a really good note because it ended up, you start in this really happy place with these characters who are just doing good things, and then it's so much more of a contrast when you see what's happening out there in the rest of the universe and what Zarkon's doing.
I will say though, the opening scene, I still remember, it was like a pan over a junk pile, and there's a little shack with a a radio dish, and it was
Yeah.
pigeon hunking there, and they were like getting these frequencies,
Scavenging,
and yeah,
like there was like a massive galra ship in the atmosphere.
It would have been
Like, It was a
cool.
cool
It could have been
visual.
cool, yeah, yeah.
Like there's a world where that show could have been super sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think
we just ended up going a little bit lighter for the
and
beginning.
it was the right. I think it was the right
Yeah.
decision overall for sure.
So coming off of coming off of CJ's question about G.I. Joe
Yeah.
and Hasbro, and you guys have like worked with them, done lots of storyboards. In Japan, there's a lot of crossovers. I was wondering, would you guys ever do make a storyboard for a G.I. Joe, Voltron, and Transformers?
I mean,
Whoa.
like yeah,
Yeah.
like in fantasy time, sure, but I
Like,
mean,
it could be
the
like
totally
legality
like
of that happening,
Yeah,
it's
those
just.
decisions happen on a much higher level
Yeah.
than
You know, like,
anything.
totally
The first thing I did ask
Yeah.
though when I went over there, I was like, can we like at the end of this thing, can like snow jobs show up in like the snowmobile and it transforms into a transformer? They were like, dude, you're crazy. Get out of here.
Shot that
Yeah.
guy real quick.
Yeah, I thought it would have been awesome. Or like a his tank rolls up at the end and then it's like Megatron.
Was
or
that
something.
before or after they started doing those con exclusives of G.I. Joe Transformers cross?
That was before. That was before.
Oh, you heard it
See,
here
I'm
first.
the
I was
Not the
trying,
only
but
one.
that one is like inner Hasbro properties. That seems way more feasible.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To dip Voltron into that one,
That's
that's
a little more
Well,
difficult.
not necessarily Voltron,
tough.
but G.I. Joe and Transformers.
sure. I'd love to
Why
see it.
not?
I think the
They
movie.
should.
Honestly, I think if they did a new GI Joe movie, I think if they want to sell 1 million tickets, the end of that film
Missed opportunity.
has a Transformer showing up, and then
Yeah, just get
From
you
the-
got
That's Paramount right
Man.
there, which I'm like, that's money.
That's millions of dollars.
But I know you guys did the Justice League series. Like, well, how was y'all interactions with Bruce, Tim, and them when y'all were like going over all the stories and stuff? Like, just I guess maybe less interaction, but more like how was the vibe there? Just shooting stories and all that stuff.
I mean, honestly, we weren't really in on like the story meetings.
Oh.
We were so, I mean, Lauren was more green than I was at the time, and I was green. So it was sort of like, as a director, you get the episode, it's already written for you, and then you have a meeting with Bruce and
James or
James
something.
Tucker, and they both sort of tell you like the beats that hey, you should definitely hit this, definitely do that, think about this conservatively, so we save up animation for that last point. I will say working with both James and Bruce is the first place I learned to like save up for special moments in the animation. Don't throw everything at the wall at one time.
Kind of build up to that.
Yeah.
I mean, how does it feel to be part of that history? Because that is a cartoon that still to this day everybody's like, I like Justice League. That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, I was such a huge fan of just Batman the Animated Series and like the Superman show, Superman and Batman crossover, like all that stuff I watched. So just getting the chance to work like in the vicinity of Bruce Timm was kind of like, oh.
He was already
happening?
an icon then, and now
Yeah.
it's like, I mean,
Like he didn't even
he's
hit, I think he
royalty,
didn't even
man.
hit 2000 and he was already like, well, you
Yeah.
did Batman. Like,
I mean, as
how
soon as
can you
Batman
really
came
get
out,
big?
he was an icon.
Yeah.
Like, people like he was on all the other shows. He was on like Tiny Toons and Animaniacs, but people didn't really know or care until Batman came out. I was like, oh my god, this guy.
I remember my first day when they introduced me, I was like, I couldn't even look at him. I had to like avert my gaze. I was like, that's Bruce Timm. That's Bruce Timm. This is crazy. Yeah.
What you got, what?
Oh, no, that's it for me.
So like doing the DC movies, what is that? How is that different versus like I say doing Voltron and all that stuff? Is it just different in terms of plotting out the storyboards for that, or is it just pretty much the same?
Well, it's different just in structure because like it's a movie, so you kind of it's basically 3 episodes worth, and then
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about any episodes beyond that. So it was nice we had like a slightly longer schedule so we could focus on them a little bit more, but at the same time, like every time you do a new movie, you're almost designing like a whole new world. I think they eventually figured that out with
they
some of the
did.
more recent ones where they're like, okay, we're going with Phil's style. We're gonna keep it in Phil's style.
Yeah.
We don't have to redo this every time. But like early on, they were like a new style, a new style, a new style. And so every time you have to redesign a whole new world, and it's crazy. But it was fun. It was cool to just play in those different stories with those different characters. and just, you know, you never got bored because you're like, I'm gonna do a Wonder Woman here and then a Green Lantern over here.
Like one of my favorite ones was New Frontier, like the early ones. How was that doing that? Like that James Cook, Darwin Cook
Darwin.
style, like that style. Like how was it like doing that style with all the characters and such?
I mean, his style I think is so just animation friendly and like and just appealing and kind of easy, like an easy entry point. So it's fun. It's just fun to draw in that style. It's like a little bit off of Bruce Timm's style, but not like so far.
I think it definitely helped that we had sort of the Justice League experience under our belt because we got used to working in those types of proportions and that, you know, those more kind of simple models. But it was awesome. I mean, it was like working on something that was like instantly classic.
Now, what was your, I guess, favorite thing during this new Voltron series? It was like kind of like your moment where you just kind of like geeked out a little bit, like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this.
I mean, seeing the transformation sequence come back, seeing that animation come back, that was a big one for sure. That was pretty iconic.
Getting to make Pidge a girl was a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, because
that was a
was
different
something
change for us. That was actually pretty different. I was like, oh, Pidge is a girl.
yeah, it's different, but it's actually like when it comes down to it, it's not that different because she just fills that same space.
Yeah.
So it's like it was, and it was something funny in the original where like Pidge, he always wore like this little headband and he had a very kind of feminine hairstyle. So you were kind of like, what?
That's what like when
this?
Lauren pitched it.
It was
That was Lauren. It was Lauren's idea
I wanted Pidge to be a girl.
For Pidge to be a girl. When she was like, "What if Pidge is a girl?" I was like, I mean, Pidge was kind of a girl in the original. I wasn't really sure where Pidge stood in the original.
Fine.
You know?
It's like if any of them could like just be a girl and not really have it affect the story that much, it was Pidge. It's like if you make Keith a girl, then it's like it's gonna shake things up. Like, but Keith was the leader in the original, and now Keith is a girl, and so on. But Pidge, it was like, you know
I don't
what?
think anybody batted an eye. 'Cause it
Yeah,
was like,
yeah. Why not? I mean, and unfortunately, I think like. I don't know, can't speak for everyone here, but like Pidge was kind of like the oddest one in the original. Like
Yeah, he
I
was.
wasn't really on board with Pidge. I was like, I don't
Especially
know.
with
He's
the
my
dub
least
voice.
favorite.
The voice. It was that.
Yeah. So yeah, it made like that was my biggest fear is when we set out. We knew we wanted to use the original characters: Punk, Pidge, Lance, Keith, and then Shiro being our Sven, and of course Allura. But like I was just sitting there like, what are we gonna do with Paige? What are we gonna do with Paige? Like I don't know how to make that character cool. But then I came up with the whole if she can be a girl, then like I can totally get behind her 100%. She's just you know.
That puts two women on the team. Now.
And
You got
that
the
too,
princess
which
and her
makes
now,
me
so it's
very
like,
happy.
Cool. Well, that is it. Thank you. for
Cool
talking
guys.
with us.
Yeah,
Appreciate
our
it.
pleasure.
Thanks
Thanks
so
for doing
much.
this, guys.